What's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucas. If we haven't already met, hello, welcome. If we have met, welcome back. It's been a minute. I didn't release a sit-down video last Thursday because you guys, I'm literally sweating thinking about it. I was dying. I had a fever of 103.3 like 2 Thursdays ago, and that fever held me all the way through last Wednesday, so I was dead. I didn't even want to get into that. Lots of developments in my life. Let me just list them. First of all, I got a new light. So if I look fabulous, that's why. Second of all, I cut my hair off, which I'm wearing a bandana so you can't fully see, but I was like going through one of those moments in my life where I was like, I need to get rid of everything. I need to shed my entire existence and just renew. So I cut off all my hair, which is really a great choice because I feel light and frothy. Also, I got the iPhone 8, yay! Snaps for Lucas, cheering, round of applause. It cost me this many dollars. I literally went into Sprint and was like, hi, take my old phone, I want my new phone. And they did, and it cost me a really, really small fee to change it over. But now I have the iPhone 8, so quality, like you are gonna see all my blemishes. And I'm really excited. The goth in me was like, please get black, but they didn't have black at the Sprint store, and I'm impatient and impulsive, so I had to get the phone then and there. So I went with white, which honestly, all right, it's silver, but it's white. And I'm pretty happy about the way it came out. Like, it's a cute phone. When I can feel the sweat droplets. Okay, so what I want to talk about this week is actually not anything to do with dance one more time, and then next week I'll start to get into dance stuff again. I've been getting a lot of requests from people in and around my life to do this video, so what I'm going to do today is talk about my coming out. First of all, I just want to say that this is not one of those dramatic things where I took my mom into a room and cried and said I was gay. Like, it was nothing like that, and I think actually that is part of the reason I want to tell the story, because I never talk about it. If you ask my friends, they will tell you that I do not talk about my coming out. So I'm gonna talk about it today. And I wanted to show people that, you know, coming out is typically an event in your life. I don't know that it should be. I think it should be a lot more normal, but it is sort of an event for most people. For some people, it's not safe. For some people, it can be the scariest thing in the world, but it doesn't have to be. Anyways, I'm just gonna get into it and we'll talk more as we go through it. I am gonna name names. If you are offended by this, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna try to put everyone in the most positive and objective light I can. So to give some context, I dated girls from when I was born all the way until senior year of high school. I was 17 when I came out, and that was, I feel like I was a pretty good age, like not too late, not super early, but like early enough that I was still able to live my gay life as a young man, which I feel fortunate because many people don't come out until they're much older. Oh my god, this is so personal, wow. Okay. From a very young age, I always like sort of thought about guys in a way that wasn't just thinking about them in a sort of platonic bro-y sense. Like, I was always sort of attracted to them, but I was never able to recognize that I was attracted to them, which I know sounds very strange, but it was my truth. I was definitely also interested in women, and I think it was very confusing for me to be attracted to women, but also have these feelings about guys. I actually had a friend, and I met him in like 10th grade, and we bonded over the fact that we were both kind of these artists that were called gay by the people around us in school, and we were like, we're not gay, like we're just like misunderstood, and we kind of bonded over that. We were never like really friends, and he ended up kind of being my high school crush. I'm sure he'll know who he is if he ever watches this video, so hi. Junior year, I was dating one of my best friends ever, Shannon, who is still my best friend. She's literally my rock, but we dated for like 6 months. It was great, but during that time, this said friend of mine told me that he was bi, and when he said that to me for the first time in my life, like a series of just sparks like blew up in my head, and I started to think, maybe like if he's bi, like what am I feeling right now? Like, could I also be bi? Like, what's going on? And I think it was seeing someone else be free in my community made me sort of start to think about, could I be free? Also too, it's necessary to understand that where I grew up, because it was so small, like I didn't have a lot of gay people around me. I didn't really have anyone to look up to. There were basically no out gay people in my school, certainly not ones that I was friends with. So it was really hard for me to talk about it with anyone. And at the beginning of the senior year, sort of had this understanding within myself that I, at the very least, wasn't straight. Oh, I'm sweating. So senior year starts, and I have this understanding, and I haven't told anyone. I literally have not talked about it with anyone in my life. Like, I just have this internal knowing, but I'm not acting upon it. So I was told by a friend that I very much trust that had overheard another friend in class talking to some of the other people in my school and basically like showing a picture of me, I think in like yearbook class, and being like, oh my god, this guy's like so hot, like sucks that he's gay, right? And this is my friend that's saying this. And so my other friend overhears this and she comes to tell me, and she's like, this person was talking about you in class. And like, even though it was kind of in a weird way, like I just thought you'd maybe want to know. And me, being a very sensitive 17-year-old, was like, what the fuck? Why is this person talking about me? Like, bitch, she shouldn't be talking about me. She's my friend. So I immediately called her. Her name's Tori. And I was like, "Bit, what the fuck are you doing talking about me? Like, I thought you're my friend. Friends don't talk about their friends." Like, I basically confronted her right away because I'm just that confrontational bitch that will confront you right away. Like, I have to do it. That's who I am. She was like, no, like, I didn't say that. I didn't say any of those things. I think I got hung up on her or something. I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now, blah, blah, blah. The next day, I walked into school and I told my 3 best friends, Shannon, Shirley, and Caroline, what had happened. And I was like, this is what she said. I'm kind of pissed off. And Shannon, who I had dated junior year, kind of took that personally because it felt like an attack on her, because throughout our whole relationship, she had really spent a lot of time defending me to people who were like, you're dating a gay person, like blah, 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 blah. So she went on Twitter and subtweeted her. I don't even really know what she said. I'm sure it wasn't very nice, but she was angry and she was venting on Twitter. She didn't mention Tori's name, but Tori messaged her on Facebook and was like, were these tweets about me? And Shannon was like, yeah, they fucking were. They were about you because you're a bitch type of thing. And it blew up into this whole situation, and I didn't even really know what was going on. I woke up the next morning to like a 100-page message from Tori's mother. Basically, it was the nastiest message I've ever received in my life, calling me a horrible person, that like I was a liar, and that like I made her daughter suicidal, and like all of these crazy things. And I was like, this is at like 6:30 in the morning, and I am not a morning person. I was waking up to go to school, and I was like, whoa, what? So I didn't know what to do because it was an adult that like wrote me a message on Facebook. I was like, okay. So I brought it to my mom, and I was like, Mom, this is what this person said about me. Please, like, can you do something about it? She was like, don't message her back. I will deal with it. I'll call her. Don't say anything. So I was like, okay. Anyways, I go into school that day, and Shannon gets called into the office, and she basically gets talked to by like the student resource officer there, and she was threatened to be like, I think, suspended, and then also potentially pursued in a court of law for cyberbullying. She was issued a verbal warning, and I was pissed about that because I was like, okay, let's be real. She was on Twitter, and like she is defending me, a friend, and like I don't really, like I just don't understand how went from me confronting this person who was talking about me in a way that I don't appreciate being talked about, to all of a sudden like I am attacking her, and like my friend is now getting in trouble. So I went at lunch and I was like, what happened? Like talking to Shannon, talking to Shirley, talking to Caroline, and we all go into honors chorus together, and we're all in that class. Tori, me, Shirley, Caroline, everybody else under the sun. And the teacher of our chorus class, Mrs. Bevan, was like my rock. She was literally like the most important person to me in the entire high school. She taught me everything that I knew about being a professional, about being passionate, about being a good student, about being a vocalist. She was my, like, basically my mother. And that day we went into class, and I don't even really remember what happened, but either someone shot her a dirty look or someone said something, and she goes, Lucas, I want you out of my classroom right now. And when I say that, she screamed at me. I've never been screamed at in my life by a teacher, and she's screaming at me. So I walk outside. She comes outside. She like unloads. I didn't even really know that she had been made aware of the situation about what was going on. And I think basically Tori's mother had called her, or the office had called her, or someone had called her, and she went off on me. She was like, this is not the you I know. You are not being a good person right now. I'm so disappointed in you. I can't believe that you would do something this low. I want you out of my classroom. I don't want to see you for the rest of the week, type of thing. And I was like, I think she actually sent me to the office. And first of all, I was shocked. And then I was just angry because I was like, what? Like, you don't even know what's going on. Like, I am the one that was being talked about. All I did was try and defend myself to the person that I knew was talking about me, and now I'm being kicked out of class and yelled at by the person that I love most in this school, and I like don't know what to do. I walked to the office after being reprimanded by my teacher, and I went to the vice principal, and he was like, what's going on? Because I have all these reports, and, you know, it seems like you've caused a lot of problems here. And I was like, this is what's happened. So I spelled it out for him, and he didn't really say anything because he's a very reserved man, and I think he basically was like, I'm gonna have to call your parents because the situation's getting serious. And I was like, what? My mom didn't really know all the details that were happening because I didn't even really know all the details that were happening, and I'm kind of a private person, even though you might not know that. I don't really tell people all the things that are going on unless I really need to tell them, especially my parents at that time. Now I'm much more upfront with my parents, but you know, high school, you feel the need to keep things from your parents. I don't really know, it's a thing. So after I got out of that meeting, I was like, I have to call my mom. I have to tell her what's happening because I need her on my side. If this is gonna become some sort of battle, I need my mom on my side. So I called her and I said, Mom, like, this is what's happened, and like, I really think I'm gonna need your help on this one. And she was like, Lucas, I just wanna like stop you. She goes, if you're such a secure person and who you are, why did it bother you so much, like what Tori said about you? And I was like, what? Like, she was talking about me. Like, I have every right to call her out. And she's like, I'm not saying that you didn't have the right to call her out, but I am saying that if you're a secure person and you know who you are, then why is it that you're fighting this so hard? I had this overwhelming just like wave of need to be honest with my mom, and I basically was like, Mom, I think I'm bisexual. Just like bisexual. I didn't really even have a full understanding of what my sexuality was, but I knew I wasn't straight and I had to tell my mom something, so I told her I was bisexual. And she was like, okay, great. How long have you known that? And I was like, you know what, I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm just gonna go and like we'll talk about it later. And she was like, okay. She like really didn't have a reaction because I mean, mom intuition, I'm sure she knew from a very young age that there was a chance that I wasn't straight, and I think she had come to terms with that in a way. I mean, it definitely took her a long time to come around. Anyways, after this, the drama started to take a back seat because basically, like, the worst of it was over. It was my friends and I, we just didn't speak to her. But to this day, I mean, I still have never gotten a verbal confirmation from her whether she did it. And months later, I did forgive her, and we did have a long conversation about it, and then we became cordial friends, and we still talk every now and then. The day after that happened, I walked into school, and I told Shirley and Carolyn, because I was like, I have to tell someone, like, I made this major life shift, and they both were like, cool, whatever, they're the best. Then I had to tell Shannon. And I did it in the wrong way. I told her at lunch right before we had class together, which I don't know why I did that. She was like, just like shocked. But after she kind of like breathed, she was like, I just want you to know that I love you and I support your decision. I'm a little bit like freaked out right now, and I don't really think that we can talk about it, and I don't want to hear about that part of your life because it's too much for me. But I support you. And that really was hard for me because she was my best friend. She will be my best friend to the day I die. She's the best human being in the world, and to not be able to like talk with her about the things that were going on in my life and these new changes, like, it was very, very hard for me. But I had such a sense of guilt over being with her and then letting her down. Like, I really felt like it was my fault, and everything that we had in our relationship was real. It really was. Like, I loved her so much, but I wasn't in love with her. To be honest with myself and to let her down in that way was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. There's nothing more I hate in this life than not being able to be there for your friends. It took her about 1.5 years for her to be able to like come around and talk about it. But now like things are good. It was really hard. And then after that happened though, after I came out to her, I didn't really tell that many people because it didn't matter, you know, like I didn't need the rest of the school to know that I was out and that I was proud, whatever. Like, I just needed to be honest with myself. And after I did that, all the pressure started lifting from my shoulders. And I remember there was this one day, to finish the story, that I like went to my dad's office after school because he had asked me to come there. He took me into his office and he was like, Lucas, I just want you to know that I love you more than anything in the world, and I just want more than anything for you to be happy in this life. I support you, and this doesn't change you in my eyes. You're still my son. This doesn't change anything. At the time, I was still so self-conscious about it that I like couldn't really say much. But I think that was actually the beginning of my father and my relationship starting over. And now I have the most beautiful relationship with my father, both my parents, but you know, my father especially now, I think, compared to before, many months later, my mom asked me, actually, she was like, do you even like think about girls anymore? And I was like, not really, but I think that's just because, you know, I've never been able to think about guys, and like, oh, I'm thinking about guys now, so I'm not really thinking about girls. And she was like, uh-huh. All right. Then when I was in college, I just was gay. Like the second I moved to college and I got away from Cape Cod, I got away from the people that I felt like didn't really understand me, had never understood me, I was immediately out. And I was proud, and I very slowly grew into myself, grew out of the tendencies of shame and the tendencies of needing to hold back who I was and the tendencies to censor myself and the, you know, all those tendencies that come with being a little bit not in love with who you are, they went away. And what I think is important about this story is that, yeah, there was some drama that surrounded me figuring out how to admit to not being straight. But at the end of the day, I am so much stronger and more honest and just more genuine of a person. A lot of the anger that I carried with me when I was a young kid is gone. It's off my shoulders. I don't have to carry it around anymore. Most of my family knows, and I think just being able to really be myself and have their support means everything. Not all families are going to receive their gay children in that way. I was super, super lucky. There's a lot of factors that go into how your parents are going to feel about you coming out. But I think what's really important is that you have to know whatever their reaction is, it has nothing to do with you. And if you are gay or trans or lesbian, queer, and whatever you are, you were born that way. You were made that way, and you should not be ashamed of it. And any reaction that anybody has to you that isn't of love is a reflection of who they are, and it isn't a reflection of you. If you can learn that early on, nothing will ever touch you, and you can be free to be yourself no matter where you are. That's my coming out story. Hopefully I'll never have to say that in person again, because it's just really long and annoying to say. And if you have any questions, message me, comment below. I want to hear your reactions, I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to thank you for watching this, because I know it's long. My videos are gonna get shorter eventually, but right now I just got so much to say. So I love you, and thank you for being with me for this moment of vulnerability, and follow me, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Happy Thursday.